Hello, and welcome to another edition of Potluck, your everything and anything talk and entertainment TV show. My name is Laura Hartman, and I am your host. Today, we have an amazing guest joining us who we are truly honored to have on our show. She's a disabled veteran. She's a cancer survivor. She's a veteran advocate and has served 13 years in the Army for our great nation. She just recently won the CNN's Hero Award, the First Lady of Virginia Flight Award, the 2013 Woman of the Year Award for government and nonprofit organizations, and that's only to name a few. She's the founder of an organization called FinalSaluteInc.org, and she also is the founder of Miss Veteran America. So please welcome to our show, Miss Jas Boothe. So welcome to the show, Jas.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for having me today.
It really is. You are just an amazing person. You were nominated as one of 4 of the unstoppable moms on the Kelly and Michael show, which is totally awesome. So you must be like on cloud 9 with all that going on and just everything else. I mean, I don't know how you do it, but let's start from the beginning. FinalSaluteInc.org is an organization to help veteran women and their children. So how did you get involved with that?
I started Final Salute basically out of a lot of bad situations that I was in, to no fault of my own. I had just relocated to New Orleans in 2005, and I was a reservist. And a few months after moving, I was notified that I was getting called up to Iraq. I never made it to Iraq. 2 very significant events happened. I lost everything to Hurricane Katrina in August of 2005, and in the very next month, in September, I received a diagnosis of an aggressive head, neck, and throat cancer. So
wow.
I was unable to deploy, and due to Katrina, I had no home and no job to go back to.
So what did you do? What were you faced with at that time?
Well, after 6 months at Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas, I had 2 surgeries and 30 radiation treatments.
Oh my gosh.
And since I was a reservist, however, I no longer have a mission with the active duty, so I have to come off of active duty after my treatment is done. And so at that point, I started to search for resources for women veterans and their children, and there was not a single resource that existed. You know, we've been serving since the early 1900s, and here we are, 2005, and women veterans are still an afterthought. And so basically, all they had to offer me was to send me to welfare to receive food stamps.
Oh my goodness! And at that time, you had a son?
Yes, I was a single mom at the time. Brandon was around 11 or 12. Okay.
So, so that probably put you through a lot of thought process of like wanting to start something, you know. Or how did you get into?
Well, at that time, you never heard about homeless women veterans, and I thought that my situation was isolated, you know. So my thought process was, well, I'm just one person going through this, so why would there need to be programs? And so I just focused on getting myself and my son, you know, back on our feet and back into our own place, and me getting a job. So later on that year, I was able to relocate to the D.C. metro area and come back working full-time in uniform. And that's when I started to hear about it again. And I'm still thinking it's probably 1 here, 2 there.
Sure.
But, you know, first there were hundreds, then there were thousands, then there were tens of thousands. And right now today, there's an estimated 55,000 homeless women veterans on American soil, and still no programs existing to support them.
Right, but now there's yours.
Yes, Final Salute, we were founded in November 2010, and we are currently still the only nonprofit in the D.C. metro area that uniquely supports homeless women veterans and their children. And although we're headquartered out of here, in 2013 alone, we assisted women in over 15 states and territories, so the problem continues to be a national one.
Okay, wow. So have there been other organizations to help you out, or like what was your steps to getting this started, and what were your steps to get the word out and maybe get other organizations to help you and maybe, you know, or try to expand?
Well, I will tell you, when I started this, I had no idea what I was doing and how I was going to do it. But you know, when you're a soldier, there's a creed you live by called the Soldier's Creed. And within the Soldier's Creed, there's a set of principles called warrior ethos. My favorite one is to never leave a fallen comrade.
Okay.
And so once I knew there was a problem and no one doing anything about the problem, I decided I need to do something. You know, I didn't have any money, I didn't have any following, but you know, I personally, I'm not a religious person, but I'm a spiritual person.
Sure.
And I believe that God, you know, sends you through, you know, certain obstacles in your life in order to be able to identify with other people in that situation. You know, so I know I wanted to start a nonprofit. And so I looked at, you know, what were the legalities of doing that. I had to form a 501c3, you know, get the IRS certification. And then from there, I just hit the streets by myself.
Wow. So did you bring this to the Army or, you know, any of the other military organizations?
Well, you know, once you're a veteran, you no longer have a connection with the military.
Okay.
You know, so I did reach out to, you know, certain government organizations, Department of Veterans Affairs, and any and every one, you know, that I thought could help. But, you know, people really didn't believe that it was an issue.
Wow.
You know, people were still thinking it's a male issue. And additionally, you know, I found out is America doesn't equate the service and sacrifice of the women of being equal to men. And that's evident in lack of supportive services.
Sure.
You know, when I first was out and started talking, going to, you know, small networking events and just getting out there anywhere I could, you know, when you talk about a male veteran being homeless, you know, America's response is, you know, we as a country failed them. You know, they've been to war, they fought, they've done these things, and why aren't we helping them as a country? But their ideology is different when it comes to women. You know, it's, you know, what did she do to get herself in this situation? You know, why does she keep having children she can't take care of? It was a totally different idea of why women veterans were homeless. And that's because I think when you're looking at the war, when you're looking at the media, they're always showing the men that's fighting. They're always showing the man that's doing the 3 to 5 second rushes and returning fire. What they won't show you is about 2 to 3 people down, there's a woman doing the same thing.
Right.
You know, I have friends who've lost both of their legs. I have friends who have been burned unrecognizably. I have friends that have traumatic brain injury, and these are women. But these stories about these women are not being told, and that's why America is not standing up for them, you know, to the same level that they are our male counterparts.
Wow, wow, that's unbelievable. You know, and especially in this day and age, you would think, okay, it's time to wake up and see, like, you know, women are serving just as much as men, and not only that, but these women have children that they have to take care of, and then they're stuck in a predicament, you know. So, so what are some of the steps to, like, reach out to these women, or like how do you, or do they reach out to you and say, hey, you know, I'm a woman veteran and I have nowhere to go. How can you help me?
I will tell you that we never have to actively seek out women.
Okay.
You know, because we're basically far and few between, there's really nothing there for them. And ironically, the Department of Veterans Affairs is our largest referral source.
Okay.
So the women find us, you know, very quickly. If you Google, you know, housing for homeless women veterans, we'd always pop up to the top. But they go into the online system and they apply. They have to upload their DD-214 so we can verify their veteran status. They usually let us know, you know, what's wrong. You know, over 70% of these women are single mothers. 80% were enlisted during their service. 18% are Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, and over 50% are unemployed. So those are like the, you know, the top reasons that we find, you know, it's not a huge, because they're a disabled population. You know, most of the supportive services that do help veterans only identify with issues, say mental health issues or physical disabilities or substance abuse issues. But as far as I serve my country, I'm an American veteran, I've fallen on hard times, you just can't get help just from serving.
Right.
You know, you have to have something that they can fix. You know, everyone wants to, you know, pet the vet nowadays, or, you know, I've taken this veteran off Skid Row and now they're doing X, Y, and Z. So usually if you have a story behind it, you can get help. But if you've just fallen on hard times, those are the ones that slip through the cracks. You know, when you're looking at male veterans, they're usually single veterans. They don't have children to care for. These are the ones you usually see on park benches or, you know, setting up tents in the woods. But you can't have children out there like that. That's why, you know, most women veterans who are in those situations with children stay in domestic violence situations and continue to get beaten and abused because, yeah, I'm in a bad situation, but at least my children have food to eat. At least my children have somewhere to sleep, you know, or we'll go from couch to couch, from house to house until our welcome, wears out. Because if you go to social services and say, hey, I'm homeless and I have children, they're going to contact, you know, Division of Children and Family Services, and they're going to take your children away from you. You know, so we have to suffer in silence in order to keep us and our children together.
Wow, wow. So, so what has your organization done? I mean, it sounds like you help with the housing, but you probably also help them to go in other directions to help with a job.
Yes. So with we have two programs. We have our home program, which is housing, outreach, mentorship, and encouragement. And that's our live-in program. So housing exponentially is what's missing, but we do realize that, you know, some of these women need child care assistance, you know, some need jobs, some need education assistance, some need assistance getting connected to, you know, counseling or VA benefits to help them get those other things they need to help facilitate, get them back to independence. They can stay in our facilities for up to 2 years. And our SAFE program is our Savings, Assessment, and Financial Education. So each woman that comes into our program, they have to commit to receiving financial education and counseling to learn things like living on a fixed income, you know, putting a budget together and how to put something away for, you know, for a rainy day. So we do realize that they need those other mechanisms and you know, to truly get back to where they need to be. And sometimes we had a very harsh winter this year. And so some had extra bills that they hadn't thought they were going to get, you know, heating bills, utility bills. And so we were able to help with a lot of those too. You know, you don't want them and their children cold or food spoiling, things like that. You know, so we have a service that can pretty much, you know, help them, you know, regardless of what they need. But we tell the ones that are in our transitional housing program that this is a hand-up program, not a hand-out program. You know, so housing is 10%, you know, of what you need, but the other 90%, you know, is solely up to you.
Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about Miss Veteran America.
Miss Veteran America.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
when did you start that?
We started it in 2012, and just a little bit of the history of why I chose Miss Veteran America as a platform. You know, you have a lot of veteran organizations, or even women organizations, they have this one big thing that they do every year. But what I was noticing about women veterans is that the events were not always very uplifting, and they painted us in lights that were all, you know, damsel in distresses or, you know, a bunch of birds with broken wings. And I'm like, you know, yeah, there are bad things that have happened to us, but we are resilient. You know, in addition to the uniform that we wear, you know, we're also mothers, we're also wives, we're also daughters, and we've, you know, committed so much, you know, to our country during our service. And I will tell you, you know, when I was in uniform, I scared people. First because I'm very tall. But you know, my hair is pulled back in a bun. You know, I'm not wearing makeup or, you know, this is totally illegal in uniform. And so you give up a certain amount of your femininity to serve as a woman. And that's okay because we raised our right hand and said that we would. And so I wanted to do an event that not only honored our service and sacrifice, but honored us first as the beautiful women that we are. And that's why I chose Miss Veteran America. You know, I've watched, like, you know, the Miss Americas and things like that, and there are things like, you know, you can't be married and you can't have children. Well, that's what women do. You know, I don't think that should be a disqualifier. You know, I think that speaks volumes about you if you're able to have a career, you're able to serve and do all these other things, and on top of that, you know, you have your husband and you have your children. And so we didn't want to, you know, omit anyone, you know, because of their personal lives. And, you know, there's no height or weight requirements. There's no age requirements. We don't do a bathing suit. It's not required when you serve. So, you know, and then, you know, that's between you and yourself. Nobody, you know, needs to see your personal business. And our first year, our second runner-up was an 89-year-old World War II veteran.
Oh my goodness.
And we didn't, Miss Gladys didn't get a sympathy vote. She came out there, she's an actress, she
Wow.
sings, she does comedy. She came out there and she gave them young women a run for their money. But she was great. But, who knew all those things about her in addition to her being a veteran?
Right.
She was married to her husband, who was also a veteran, until he died, and she raised her children while she was serving. Would have never known that about Miss Gladys.
Wow.
And so there's so many layers to us beyond our uniform and our service that I think America as a population forget about. And so I wanted to reintroduce them, to us, without the camouflage.
Oh, sure.
And that's why we chose to do Miss Veteran America. And also, who doesn't want a crown in the sash?
I know, right?
Everyone wants. And even when you walk into a room, people notice it, and they just flock to you. And this also was a confidence builder. So many people told me it boosted my confidence, and to want to do so many things and to dress up and be pretty again and not think that, I shouldn't because of, what my job was.
Now, are these women that enter into the Miss Veteran America, are they part of, have they been through, being homeless?
Some of them have, and the thing is, you really don't learn about their stories until, competition time, because we focused on, the positive aspects, but, like our first queen, Denise Gordon, we didn't know that she had experienced military sexual trauma and had been raped throughout her military career.
Wow.
Those are some things that she felt comfortable after going through the competition to disclose. Our second winner, Elena Guitron, we didn't know that she was, brought up through the foster care system and joined the military to raise and take care of her brother. And, those things you would have never known about them had it not been for this competition. And so it just continues to speak, to their resilience. And, we also had other ones that have been homeless before and have lived in homeless shelters. But, when you see them, you don't see any of that. You just see this woman, but there's a story behind her, but you don't know. But at that particular moment in time, you see a beautiful woman who gave up so much for her country.
Wow, that's amazing. So when the pageant's going on, do these women have a lot of time to
Miss Veteran
bond?
America is a competition and not a pageant.
I'm sorry. When this competition happens, do the women really bond with each other because they've been through so much, and do they actually help go out and have their own support systems for the sexual abuse, or if somebody's been in foster care all their life and they've had to, take care of their brother, do they?
Yes, and that's what's another beautiful thing is, even though it's a competition, these women all bond together. Usually I've seen some of the backstage things, people are focusing on themselves, but they're helping each other with their makeup, helping each other with their hair. So they're just all back there giggling and giddy and just enjoying, each other as sisters in arms. But yes, they do go out into their communities after that and, become a voice and become a presence, for other women who may have served and may not have served, that may have served, had similar, circumstances. So it's not just a night. This experience stays with them and they continue to give back once they're done.
Sure, that's great. That's really great. So, the 2014 Miss Veteran America competition.
Yes.
It will be held October 12th,
yes.
2014. Where will it be held?
It's at the National Conference Center in Leesburg.
Okay, and can anybody go to that?
Yes, anybody can come that purchases a ticket.
Of course.
We have Lamont Rucker, who's actually our co-host this year. He stars on Meet the Browns. He did Why Did I Get Married? He was a sheriff that married Sheila. So we usually have quite a few celebrities that come out and support because they want to show their appreciation for the military women has served, and it doesn't hurt that he's easy on the eyes either. So I'm happily married just in case my husband's watching.
Right.
Yeah.
Does the military, like Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, are they aware of what you're doing now?
I believe that they are. I think some of them are still kind of checking it out because it is so new and because just because it's so different from the light that military women have been in. But we do have women generals that are retired or still serving that come out to the event.
Oh, nice.
They support it. We have 5 judges that are women representing each one of the service components.
Okay.
So from the women veteran and the women in military perspective, they are very, very supportive.
Okay.
But I think because it's so new, they're just still checking it out and make sure it's okay. There's no expectation, anything like that going on. But it's a very positive event, and we do, get a lot of support, from the military and civilian population alike.
Okay, great. And is there a website that people can, maybe plan ahead and say, oh, I'm definitely interested in going in October?
Yes, they can go to www.missveteranamerica.org, and they can also go to Final Salute site, finalsaluteinc.org, to look at upcoming events and definitely learn more and check out Miss Veteran America.
Okay, great. And you also have an event coming up in May. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, we have a stand-up event. Most events for veterans are called stand-down events. I don't want people to stand down. I want them to stand up with us. And so we're doing a stand-up for women veterans on May 10th at the Women's Memorial in Arlington, Virginia. And it's basically a girls' day out. You come there. We're right now we're collecting slightly used business suits, and it's to help them, those that are transitioning, so we're calling it transitioning in style, to get business clothes. We also have people that are going to be there doing their hair and doing makeup. And the highlight that I'm proud of the event is that we're doing professional headshots. That's something you don't think about in the military. We do, and I was in the Army for 13 years. We do DA photos, and that's when you're in your uniform and you're like, kind
of like my driver's license.
And if you look on the LinkedIn profiles, they still have those pictures up. And I know a lot of civilian employers, they want to employ military people, but for some of them, perception is reality. And they want to go on there and see you, just as a professional civilian. And having a headshot is it's a booster too. Confidence booster. And so, they're going to go there, they're going to get, all dolled up and just hang out with a bunch of women veterans and, take a couple of pieces of business clothing back to help them, get back started on the employment road. But it's just a very positive event. And, when I left the military, I didn't know what to wear after 13 years. And so I was telling you earlier that I always wear tights with dresses because I'm still having problems sitting like a girl. I was asking, where are the cameras at? Make sure they're not, But those are some things that we don't think about. And things they don't tell you when you got the military, that even the act of finding something to wear is going to be a significant life event for you. So we're also looking for any estheticians that might be there, beauticians, makeup artists that want to come and donate their time, and also let them know about colorings, how you match pairings, those types of things that will also, help them from the day-to-day once they're along their road.
It'll be a little educational thing for them as far as like beauty and look. And
I'll be in line too because I'm still learning. I just got out in June, so I'm still learning too. So.
Wow. Well, you do a good job right now.
I'm still working on the makeup thing. I do the whole BB cream, like, this has 4 things, then lipstick. But you look very beautiful. I hope to get on your makeup level one day, but I'm just not there right now.
But, so how can people out there, watching TV, help to donate some, business clothes or, whatever else is needed to your organization?
They can go to our site and email us, so they can email leadership@finalsaluteinc.org. That goes to our leadership, and they can just say, hey, I want to donate some slightly used business clothes, and I'll connect them with our resident manager who will arrange pickup and delivery with them. We also need shoes, so if you have some shoes.
I was about to ask you, what about shoes?
We need some shoes of all sizes. I'm a 12. I'm not going to get any, but, some of us have a little bit of a bigger feet. But, business clothes, shoes, they want to donate some jewelry, some accessories, anything that helps with, put an outfit together that's professional, that will help the women.
Oh, great. What a great cause.
Well, thank you.
So what have been some of your, since you've started finalsaluteinc.org, what have been some of your biggest challenges?
The biggest challenge is funding. We're not federally funded. All of our funding comes from, corporate grants or individual giving, but people don't know how huge the problem is. So for some of them, it's unbelievable that many women, are homeless. But the one thing that it sets me is when you look at disasters that happen in other countries. We as Americans always rise up to the call. Oh, look at the tsunami in Indonesia. We need to text to donate. We need to give because they can't stand to see those pictures of the women and children that are displaced. Same thing happened in Haiti. We were again texting to donate. You had celebrities getting on their private jets and going over there because they wanted to do things. But when you tell them about the tens of thousands of homeless women veterans on American soil, they always revert to, well, the VA needs to do something about that. What's the VA doing? We don't have that same sense of urgency for our own women. And these are women who have served, this great nation. The uniform I wore for 13 years didn't say, VA Army. It said U.S. Army.
Right.
So when it comes to veterans, it's an American call to action that needs to help. But that's the biggest issue is, getting people to believe that this is a huge issue and that you need their support. It only costs in our program $25 a day to support one family.
Wow.
So it's very, very economical, but it's just getting the word out and let people know that this is a problem. And if everyone in America gave $25, it would take care of all 55,000 of these women just about.
Wow. And is this 55,000 women existing here nationwide? What about women that are already overseas and are maybe coming back?
Well, the situation is going to get worse because our system as it's set up is already not able or set up to support them. But you just looked at, the military's drawn down now.
Right.
They're drawing down forces. They're ending the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan. Like I said, 18% of the women that come to us are Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. Right now, I have a daughter, a 2-year-old in my house. Her mother's deployed, and she's in the reserves, and she was homeless before she went over to Iraq and Afghanistan. We have women who are still serving in uniform, living in homeless shelters.
Right.
Which is a disgrace in my eyes.
Right.
But it's only going to get worse because they're going to come back, and they're going to come back to a country who still sees them as an afterthought.
Wow. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time.
That's okay. I think I got it all in there.
Yeah. But thank you so much for joining. It was truly an honor to have you because you are just such an amazing woman and have done so much.
Thank you.
So for those who are want to find out more about finalsaluteinc.org, go to their website, finalsaluteinc.org, and also they can go to Veteran America, MissVeteranAmerica.com or .org. And if you're just tuning into us right now, you missed a good segment, so catch us on the web at www.potluck-online.org. And thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time.